Well, hello, annyeonghaseyo. Welcome to our very first CN community polls. And you already know how we do it at Chromesnetwork. If there's a room where innovation is cooking, we're definitely pulling up with our plates and spoons ready to eat. This time we stepped into the circles, an intimate gathering powered by Logos Network, and let's just say the room was given. It was giving builders, brains, and big ideas. And this wasn't your typical loud tech meetup. The conversations was very intentional. We had conversations with ecosystem developers and contributors. It was really, really good. But of course, before we will dive into anything, we have to do proper introductions. And this was the point where we linked up with the logos representative and got into it and got
I've been like an
cooking.
active contributor, open source dev, building tools and utilities. Mainly now I'm kind of like AI pal, doing a couple of personal projects and also building around communities as well as helping to shape logos here in Lagos.
A brand and marketing strategist. I run a brand and marketing agency known as Axo. And then I transited, not necessarily like transited, but I stepped into the blockchain industry in, I think, about 4 years ago. And because of my background and disposition, I was contributing mostly to science-based blockchain organization. In the past 1 to 2 years, been able to contribute to ecosystem that has created tools to help people for smart patient appointment system down to the neuroscience to help people living with brain health issues. So building things like cortex that help people to understand their brain health fitness and scores and all of that. And then in 2024, I launched my own science organization known as Borderless Science. And our current prototype is drug discovery agent, AI agents that focus on and gets resource from traditional and herbal sciences. And it helps to give better predictions and recommendations as to what to use these local herbs and all of that to do. And then the end point is to store this info on the blockchain.
Hi, my name is Purity Oganelchukwu, popularly known as Purity Chrome. I'm a Web3 product manager and I'm also a fresh creator. And I just recently launched a brand called Chromesnetwork that is focusing on driving education to general public in a more welcoming manner for everyday people without the tech jargons, right? And then also highlighting builders within the blockchain ecosystem specifically for Africa. Pretty much it.
Nice to meet you guys.
I do partnerships for Nigeria Blockchain Week, and I do a bit of marketing. I do a lot of things. I'm also building a network for explorers of experiences, where we're solving a problem with event farm organization, and also solving cultural problems. That's basically it about me.
Can you go over Logos Network as how many what they do and why we actually have these circles and work circles actually? Logos Network is a sovereign technology stack. They are trying to reinvent the virus site. Circles, when they come together and they identify a developing issue and then they identify an idea they can work on, each of them, or most people in the community, can contribute their skills towards working towards the achievement of this. So what the Benin Circle did was that they built a product that could help them easily fundraise. For example, people in the community, they could easily fundraise and do stuff together. They contributed or they leveraged the funding from the Global Network to help build or integrate digital assets and then sponsoring Raspberry Pi and microcomputer frameworks for the school, and then they were able to start learning and getting digital knowledge. That is the main concept of circles, and it's not limited to like one particular thing. There could be a lot of ideas that come out from circles.
You've mentioned the winnable issues and picking one and then either contributing within the community or getting the funding from Logos directly to solve that problem. Two questions are, one, how do you guys come to decide for each circle, obviously per country is different. So let's say, for example, for Lagos or Nigeria, how do you guys come to decide that, oh, this is a particular, if 5 people brings different issues, how do you decide out of those 5 which one you want to work on? That's one. And then time frame, what are like the next steps to do and stuff like that? How does that whole process run?
When you're discussing issues, as the logos representative, I don't actually contribute that much. My main job is to listen. So while listening, my job is to identify where this person, and this person are kind of like a bit connected. You all are like proposing issues, like you say, you want to solve pollution, you want to solve tenancy, you want to solve this. But there is a conflection point in all these ideas, and that is what I'm looking for. And if I'm able to see that conflection point, you are bringing ideas, and they're all leading towards that conflection point. I know that that is actually a winnable issue. On the timeline, if we identify winnable issues, the timeline can vary. It's not something that there is a fixed point. You can source skills in-house, or you can source it outside, and then we try to work on it. And then if there is any funding that is needed, any support that is needed directly from logos, then that is where they come in, the support, they bring the funding that is needed for this project to actualize.
And I have done both technical and non-technical things. I've completed the hackathons. So I have seen what it takes to build a product from scratch to minimum viable product. I have hosted events. I have helped raise funds for brands and crypto companies that are starting up, for non-profit organizations as well. And my focus for coming is I am looking to new networks that are looking to poach the African ecosystem, be it in terms of they are creators or in terms of their builders, or looking to start a community here and to help. That's one. That was like my main focus, because when I did research on logo, it was a new network that I obviously haven't heard of. And when I looked at them, they weren't builders focused per se compared to other crypto networks or blockchain networks that I know of. And the touch point was the fact that they were looking to actually solve real world issues, which is, it has to be the main focus for blockchain. And I feel that that's the best way for blockchain to go worldwide in terms of educating the public. Because for us at Chromesnetwork, that's what we're trying to do. Everyday people would not use this technology if it does not connect to their everyday life. So if we're only building products and just churning it out, and these people, they are everyday people, they don't do back end or all this stuff. They are very down to earth. They like to listen to music. They like to watch reality TV shows. Very down to earth people. If we're not doing things that are tied to what they are attracted to, it will be difficult to have that adoption that we're looking to. That was the whole essence of coming, to see how I can help.
But I was drawn because of the social aspect and then real world problems and solutions. That was like the core thing. And in the decentralized science space, where we have pen chance for non-Web3 people, because I believe we are building for daily experiences. Yeah. We're building for people. It's better that the people we are building for interact with blockchain product without even knowing that it's a blockchain product. Yeah. So that's like more or less why I came.
Seeing the event was my first interaction with logos. I didn't know about it before. But when I saw it, I was curious because they weren't doing the norm. They weren't doing the norm of, like we all said, focusing on builders, tech, good tech per se. But they're focusing on things that actual solutions. And I'm a big believer of people, because a lot of people focus on products, leaving out the people, when in actual sense and actual reality, there is no product without the people, because people eventually use the product. It's also something we're doing within the Nomad network, where I'm building, where we're focusing on the people that power events, because there's no event without the people. Now it kind of aligns with what we're building, and I was just curious to see a broader scope of what this looks like with the blockchain. Because in fact, with the normal network as well, we're not focused on Web3. We're not focused on Web3 here because at the end of the day, it's Web2 people that would eventually come into Web3 space and use the products that's going to be built. But if the focus is on gatekeeping or being too technical and not involving the normal man, like the average person, it defeats the idea and the purpose of decentralization as well. I just came to see what it's about and how I could contribute as well and bring people from the normal network to Logo Circle.
I don't know how it started, but I know it wasn't that way before. The boys on the road, the hardwares, that I don't think it started that way. I think it started as maybe they were supposed to be officials to take tax or whatever for like drivers, because there was no digital format or anything for people that are doing transportation to obviously pay tax or whatnot to the Lagos state government. And then they brought young people to be doing that. But then over time, these people have become nuisance because they rob, they steal. At the same time, the pricing they collect in a day, if a bus driver is going like maybe 14 times, that's go and come back, he's paying that money. It's not like he's paying once. And that's a lot. I think that's actually like a struggle over time, that maybe the intentions were good in the beginning to have accountability for the bus drivers, but then over time, it has gone haywire and has turned to something else entirely, and Lagos is upside down.
It affects people who sell by the roadside as well. You see someone that hasn't made a sale that day for a day, and they have to pay money. They don't care. They don't really care if you made money. They don't really care if you sold anything. They don't care. They just care about getting that money. I don't understand the idea behind that over there, because I think it's only in Lagos. What they just care about is their own pockets. And the money doesn't even go to the higher ups. In fact, most of the money doesn't go to the higher ups. So it's just a very nasty situation,
And some of the factors that engineer some of these things, one is the feeling of being authoritative, and they believe that they are autonomous. The justice system, I think it's tying everything together, because people know that they can do whatever they want to do and get away with whatever they have done or they are intending to do. Because if you look at some of the issues we've raised, it goes around like justice. Someone can wake up and scatter people's market on the road even without telling them. These Agbero boys will stop busing. Now they are even stopping dispatch.
What exactly do you think was the cause for the negative appearance?
One, it could have been human nature, which is something you can actually fight with. But at the same time, it could be lack of accountability. Take, for example, if after they take the money, there was no structure to report how much was collected or how much people are taking and stuff like that, where the money goes to. If there was no form of accountability, obviously by human nature, one person starts thinking, oh, I can take more from this person and pocket it. When you send it to the next person, oh, we don't have proper documentation, I can cut the money in half and send half. And then probably from the main head, they'll be surprised, how come it's not up to the, maybe mark, based on number of bus are usually on the road every day. And then they are now pressuring the people back. And then the middleman is now pressuring the one on the road, and the pressure falls back again to the bus drivers and even us that are paying. Because before, you cannot tell me, oh, you're taking a bus from Ajah to Lekki at 1,000 before, let's say in 2020, irrespective of our economical structure. All these things have contributed to the price of taking transportation.
So I feel with this whole thing, there's a thing with, like I said, structure. So the way to create jobs for these guys on the road, to tag them out. So now they created this NURTEW. It's not even on the whatever. It created this avenue but it wasn't structures weren't there. Structures to ensure the standard. So I feel it's the thing with structure, maintenance, and I feel it's a very deep-rooted problem because it's something that started today. Something that has been starting, and when a particular culture is regarded as a norm, it becomes very bad. That's why today, for instance, you see, if let's say I joined the NERTW and I'm trying to bring in the idea of integrity or honesty and giving back what I got, like what I'm at the end of the day when I'm doing my collations and everything. If I'm trying to bring the idea of saying I'm going to give back everything, the next man will look at me like a fool. Because corruption is not a norm. It's a norm to steal. It's a norm to be dishonest. It's a norm to be corrupt. And it's a mentality thing, very deep rooted mentality issue. And it's actually a big problem.
Value system. I have this belief that for a country or a community or for something to progress, everybody has to have similar value system. Yeah. Maybe maintenance culture, even as simple as love for one another. Mm-hmm. These things play very long, wide role in whatever we do as a community. It will be easier to implement things when everybody understands or they're educated, not necessarily being literate as by certifications and all of that, just basic human connection and not seeing it as greed. And then, just like you mentioned, we see things as super perfect or out of reach. It's not possible. There are some persons, they will give excuses and say, hey, you to go and be the president. Now, do you think it's easy to be maybe the local government chairman? But to be honest, if we follow integrity and simple values and standard, it's easy to be anything. Because one, you know that as the chairperson or whatever you are not the one doing the work. You are trusting the people in the system. So it means that for me to be a chairman and I believe that things can work, it does not mean that I should go and do it. It means that I know that the other persons that share the same value system. So that I believe that for a place to move forward, the value must be linear. And if you check other countries that are really doing well, the value system like Japan, even China, you know that if you still money there, it's dead sensitive. So, and stuff. So I believe the value system will now translate to that justice deficit in all of that.
Yeah. If you have like the technical know-how, the technical experience, you should have like a clear-cut experience on how to pioneer something like this. And then that is where sharing skills come from. You can as well leverage the community and the circle to find, let's say, since you're thinking of having a system that lets the transport system collect taxes without actually creating a burden on the normal users, you can have like other members who are more knowledgeable in the field, or you could actually bring in someone from the outside, or you request us to like help you source for somebody. Could it be somebody who is working in the transport sector? Could it be somebody who works in the government, or could it be somebody who is a driver of bus transport? They could actually come into the circle and also help drive these conversations. That is one of the ways this project will go forward to, if we identify it as this is a winnable issue, something that we can be able to see. That is number one on the project structure. After that, we can be able to have a clear-cut expectation of how we can work towards that in order to solve it for the local community. Then secondly, on the funding aspect is usually handled immediately after the whole ideology has been defined, and it's something that you can be able to set a 3-month expectations to work on and a 6-month expectations to deliver. And that is where the core funding comes from. Usually there is no blocker on that. I can guarantee that to an extent you would definitely receive support. And then goals, you meant to like outline your goals towards this. We all had a discussion today. We are primarily targeting ease of life for people, and not just the people to actually create orderliness and all that. So you need to like mark this as winnable goals. I mean the word winnable goals, although it's not associated with logos, but winnable goals, something like you can pinpoint to. We've actually reached to this metric and we're able to solve this. Alright, we're able to start from this small environment, small local government, and we are using it as a case study, a feasibility study. You see, we have like 6 goals. If we're able to meet up with all this, then we know that this idea is probably validated or something like that. Perky, baby, what we finna do? I'm 11, babe, don't make a fuss.